Hello everyone, this is Lauren Deek. We are coming to you on a Sunday here from the Urban Planning Office. We're going to record a couple of things here relative to our current studio unit to help you visualize what the relationship between the elevation view and the plan view and some of the new forms and new spaces, the new architecture that can emerge from the relationship between these two tiles, the plan view and the elevation view. I'm actually going to take you into SketchUp, the free version of what's called SketchUp Make or SketchUp Free. It is software that runs inside of a web browser window, so there's nothing to install. You do have to register for it with an edu email address, I recommend, but there's nothing to download as the software runs entirely in a browser window. So a good internet connection is necessary, but it's a software that runs entirely in the browser window. So it's kind of exciting to have that available to us. Before we get started in SketchUp, it's good to have a quick reference card ahead of us. So just Google SketchUp quick reference card. This is for the Pro version, or what's now called SketchUp Studio. So it's not exactly all of the tools that are available in the free version, but the tools that are available in the free version have the same symbols and do the same stuff. So it's always good when you're starting a software program of any kind to look for their quick reference card or their command reference card, because it's going to tell you what all of these different symbols mean, what all these different operations mean, and what they potentially might be used for. Any software that you learn in your life also will have a series of what we call shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts. That are listed here. Those work for a lot of different softwares. So if you're learning Adobe Photoshop in second semester, or Adobe Illustrator in second semester, or InDesign, as we will get into in your second semester, keyboard shortcuts save a heck of a lot of time. Any software that you begin to learn in this program or other programs will have a series of keyboard shortcuts that will make your workflow that much faster. SketchUp Free, and it takes me to Plans and Pricing, SketchUp Free, free modeling software, no strings attached. This will take you to the browser version of SketchUp Free. It used to be called SketchUp Make, now called SketchUp Free. You just go to Start Modeling. And it will ask you to register your email address with them. Of course, that gives Trimble SketchUp an opportunity to send you lots of marketing software and get you to sign up for their subscription prices and things of that nature. But when you make an account with Trimble, it'll look like this. You just sign in with an email address, and you just register and make a free account with them, and then you can start modeling with the free version. So I'm going to go to Create New, Simple Template, Feet and Inches, and it gives me this particular view with a scale figure. I'm going to remove her from the view itself, and then take a look here at all of the functions here on the left-hand side toolbar. The most common tool that we use in SketchUp is the Orbit tool. The Orbit tool is what allows us to orbit around the environment itself, and embedded with the tool is the hand, which allows us to move around the window. The magnifying glass, which allows us to zoom into a portion of the window. Zooming extents so that the entire window is open to any elements we might have. So the orbit, the push around or hand, or the magnifying glasses are all embedded together in that first that one particular button here. So I'm going to go back to orbit, get kind of a view going here. Then I'm going to go to the pencil. With basic drawing tools, we've got a freeform drawing tool, we've got a pencil, and I'm just going to begin to draw a plane for our back elevation. I'm going to type in 11. And that's going to probably default that to 11 inches. Draw also on the green axis. You'll notice that SketchUp snaps to the axes. We can also force things. Here it's snapping to the z-axis, or the blue, what's called the blue axis. Here it is snapping to the green axis. Here it is snapping to the red axis. SketchUp will intuitively assume that you want to draw straight lines. So I'm just making a very simple box here to begin, and then I'll zoom extents, so it'll take me right into the box itself. I'll grab the magnifying glass and I can zoom in and out. I'm using the trackpad, but the center button of a mouse, or the wheel button of a mouse, is really, really helpful for SketchUp for zooming in and out. So I have a very basic, simple thing going here. We've got 11 inches by 11 inches, depending on what your studio instructor has you doing. This might be an 8.5 inch by 8.5 inch back plane for the elevation. It might be 11 inches, might be 11 inches, whatever it is. We're just going to draw it there, and then I'll grab the pencil again and I'll drag that out here. I'm going to type in 11, and it's going to assume 11 inches. The escape button is also really helpful. It'll stop any operation that you're doing in SketchUp. The escape button is your friend because it will stop anything that you're doing in SketchUp. 11 inches again, and then I'm just going to connect the two. So now we have two planes, looks like a little shelf. We've got one for the back, one for the front. Next, I will go to the measuring tool. Under the measuring tool, we have a tape measure, which has an option. You can see that there's an option key equals toggle to create guides. Hold shift to lock the inference. This is typical for a Mac computer. The option key is on a Mac is what allows this particular tool to do different things or toggle different functions. For a Windows computer, it'll tell you if this is the Alt key or the Control key. It depends on your computer itself. But on this point here, I can use this measuring tool to pull out a series of guides. And what this will do is allows me to start to visualize the 9-square grid for my plan here. All I have to do now is type in 3.6 as a decimal point, and it'll take it to 3.6 inches. I'll do that again, escape key. I'll do that again, and I can type in 3.6, and it will start to make a grid for me. And that's interesting because now I can continue to visualize this grid as our plan view here. For my urban planning students, the Create Guidelines tool is a really, really important one because it's how we calculate different setbacks and start to lay out roads and streets. It's a really, really important tool for us when we use SketchUp in urban planning. So this is helpful because now we're able to take the orbit tool. Now this is a visualization of our 9-square grid plan and our rear elevation. But the free version now has some interesting things that we can start to bring in. So I go to first I'm going to save the project. It'll save it to a cloud folder. So just give it a name, and it'll save it to your SketchUp account. So it'll be there. I go to these three here. We can insert something. I want to insert a file into this model. In fact, I want to insert an image. So I've got saved on my desktop. I've got a couple of tiles saved as JPEGs, and I'm going to bring that in as an image. It has to be a JPEG. SketchUp just prefers it to be a JPEG, and I can actually insert my elevation tile into this model. I'll do the same thing. I'll go to these three bars over here. I'll go to Insert, Your Computer, and I've got the placeholder tiles here. Again, it just prefers that they be JPEG images. If they're HEIC or PNG or something like that, you can just convert that in Microsoft Paint or convert that in Preview if you're a Mac user. And I'm just going to insert now the 9-square grid tiles to this base plane. Stretch it out here, I'll snap it over here to this side panel and just see how we're doing just in terms of that. I'll take the orbit tool again. This is now a digital version of what you've completed now for Monday. So this is going to help us have a little bit of fun here now. So the new architecture we're talking about is an emergence or a collision between elements or lines or datums or shapes that are occurring in this plan view, colliding or overlapping or meeting different shapes that are extruded from this back elevation view, what we might call the skyline view or the city elevation view. It could be any tile really that has an interesting pattern to it of datums, of axes, of shapes, and the like. So to explore that further, I'm going to now go into, under the rectangle tool, we've got rectangles, we have arcs, we have circles. We have an arc tool here that has a 2-point arc, a 3-point arc, so that's good for drawing arcs. The pencil tool, of course, for drawing other shapes like triangles and things like that. So what I think I'll do is I will just grab my magnifying glass and then zoom in a little bit further. Grab the hand here, move in a little bit further, and start to model out a little bit of one tile. I think what I'll do maybe is just start drawing with the pencil. It's going to draw it on the face of the image. It could be as precise or as loose as you want to be with it. I want this to be a closed shape, so that it has to be a closed shape. Now if I need to move this image away, I grab the move tool and I just pick a corner and I can move that out off to the side. Probably don't recommend doing that, but for the moment anyway. That's now a closed shape that I can use to extrude. So I'm using the push-pull tool. It's difficult to see the lines that I've drawn because the image is covering them up. This is unfortunate, but I know that they're there. If I know that this is a closed shape, then this is something that the push-pull tool, a very fun tool, can grab and then start to pull up. In addition, let's see, I'll grab the circle tool. I'll just put a circle where this circle is occurring. I'll just take that to the diameter. Again, can't see it because unfortunately the image is covering it up. And that is an unfortunate part of this free version, or this SketchUp interface. It's not perfect, but at any rate, we can start to make a series of drawings of things that might be informed by the tile. Now I say informed by the tile. You don't have to pull everything. We don't have to draw everything here. We want to create some interesting things that are informed by the tile. So I see a datum. If I see a datum, for instance, or I see a compound shape, for instance, I might just simplify that and just pull that whole thing as a rectangle. The pencil tool is a little bit more forgiving there. I'm just going to say this whole thing here is going to be a rectangle, and that's going to be something that I can pull up like so. It's again hiding underneath the image, but I can just go through here and begin to selectively lay down a pattern of circles. I might get a few of these circles together like so. Face. SketchUp likes to snap to things. I might grab this as a triangle, just draw on face an image. Try to complete a few of these shapes. Trapezoids, rhombuses, or rhombi, compound shapes that look interesting. Just as long as they're a closed shape, it should work. And those then become things that we can extrude. Like so. That cylinder, that shape there, this triangle. Sometimes it wants to grab the image. We don't want that. We want this. We want this. This one could be interesting. See how the shapes slide up against each other. And this will make more sense once you're completed. Once I think you've managed to pull up a few different things. You may want to either delete this image or move it out of the way. So I'm just going to click on the image, grab the move tool, and see if I can move that out of the way. It wants to take everything with it. No, probably not. But I think after you've drawn a few things, if you delete the image away, and the shapes that you have there should be visible. You can always undo it with the arrow tool up here. I think what I'll do maybe is draw a few more things. Now you don't need to use SketchUp. by any means, but this is a way for me to show you some of the goals of this project and how this project can start to create some interesting collisions between the rear elevation view and the front elevation view. But there's no requirement to use SketchUp for this. SketchUp is used a lot by students in landscape architecture and students in urban planning. It's something we really enjoy using. We can start to connect a few larger shapes maybe. I can also change gears here. I may be drawing here and I can change gears and go to an arc, and it will SketchUp will pick up where I left off, and I can make an arc off of that shape as long as it's still on the face. Come back, grab the pencil again, and I can continue on making this shape. It's like a really interesting compound shape here. I can stop, grab an arc, continue that on the face of the image. So as long as we're on the face and we're not bowing up, and then go back to pencil, continue modeling this interesting compound image that was inspired by or influenced by the image of the plan, until I get a enclosed shape. I want that to be an enclosed shape. There, now it's closed. And then I can extrude it up, like so. All right, so that's just a few things that you can extrude up. So many of the shapes that you have here will become columns, they'll become walls, they'll become half walls, they'll take on a certain character. So those are some of the shapes and objects that we can pull up from that base plane. And then we can play with them a little bit further once we delete away this reference image. Once you're done with that, you just delete away the reference image, clean up or get rid of anything you don't want. And that starts to create a formal language that is informed by things that are from the base plane itself. Let's go now to the elevation view. So I'm going to grab the orbit tool, move this around, the hand, and then probably magnifying glass and zoom out. Zooming out, I'm just using, I have one finger on my trackpad and another finger zooming in and out, but if you have a mouse, then the center wheel really helps you do that. So similar to what we did before, I'm just going to, these shapes are much larger in size, so they're really good for starting to think about extruding roof planes or extruding beam or overhead or bulkhead types of languages. So I'm just going to trace over this triangle here loosely until that's an enclosed shape. Looks like that is. Oh, I made a trapezoid. That's interesting. So we'll pull that forward. And then I'm going to make a really big one here. So I just need to move my window out a little bit. SketchUp is pretty forgiving. If you are interrupted with the pencil tool, you can go to other tools and it'll come right back to it and it'll keep going from the line that you had started. I can switch to an arc, continue this line with an arc. Think, escape. And then continue it this way. Start to get something going here. This would be an interesting shape. Not sure where it's headed right now, but that's okay. Looks like it's going to be an interesting shape. Woo! Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. All right, so now if I pull this forward, it's starting to intersect or interface or overlap with some of these other shapes we have on the plan. That's what I'm after. I'm after an interesting collision or overlapping of things. Let's go new interesting forms, new interesting architecture that we didn't expect before. Let's try this shape here. I'm going to take the pencil and create an outer boundary. I'm going to hit the escape tool, go to the arc, grab one of the arcs. 2-point arc is good, 3-point arc, just in terms of how you want to construct the arc. Looks like that might be a compound shape now. Not so much. It's not completely closed yet. So I need to close here, endpoint to endpoint. And I've got a shape now, so I can pull that forward. Triangle up here. I'll connect that to this corner. Give me an opportunity to grab that extrude tool and pull that forward. See how it's sliding against the other one? So that's some good variety. Let me zoom out a little bit, orbit a little bit here, and we've got something. All right, we've got something. Looks interesting. Okay, and one more. Let's do that. Let's get in here. I'm going to make three, 4 lines on this side of this shape. Escape and start again. Grab an arc, connect to these 2 pieces here. Do that. Looks like it's probably an enclosed shape. Yes, I can pull that forward. And then when I'm all done, delete the back image. Just get rid of that stuff. I can highlight things and delete them using the delete key. So let's zoom out just a little bit. Take a look at what we got. All right, we've got a couple things I don't need, so I'll select those and delete those. A little bit of junk, just need to clean up. Grab that orbit tool and then let's take a look at it. All right, so we've got something going. Probably need a few more things to hold that stuff up. I can always potentially bring back my image, but this gives you an idea of what we're after, what we can explore using SketchUp, or what we can explore with this project when we think about shapes that are extruded from a pattern, whether that be the plan view or the elevation view, and what they do when they start to collide. Now I can select all of it like so, grab the paint bucket, and just use some standard colors. I could potentially use the standard colors that are in here. I can view the list. Many of the colors here are from that scale figure that started out this project. But if we go to this little tool here, it'll give you a series of materials here, patterns, metal, or otherwise. Let's just go to standard colors, and I'll pick an off-white or gray here for all of this to be painted. So all that will be painted white now. I recommend that you have either all white or neutral cardstock for building these models. Now, there's something further I think that's important. We've extruded all these shapes as 3-dimensional solids. That's interesting in itself, but I think what's also interesting is that we can start to delete portions of these things and new things start to emerge. It's a way of almost thinking about how we might carve into some of these things. So I can actually remove some of these planes and we can start to see them as not 3-dimensional solids, but as a collection of 2-dimensional planes that have relationships to each other. So things like tubes as opposed to complete solids. So for me, I think what's interesting is how we can actually move things, and it reveals more things about what we're looking at. See, that's kind of a cool space now, and so that might be removed, that might be removed. And in fact, this would become a shape that we could construct out of cardstock and explore that a little bit further. So let's see what that starts to do. Let's get in here a little bit further. Grab it and continue carving out some things. Sometimes it's interesting just to take away things and see what happens. Sometimes we can select a whole thing like this, grab the move tool and actually move it up. Unfortunately, it likes to carry some things with it. If I select things from the left, in SketchUp, if I select something from the left, it will select only things that are contained within the box. If I select things from the right, it will select everything that it touches. Good rule of thumb for SketchUp: if you select something from the left, it will only select what's in the box. if you select from the right, it'll select everything that it touches. Good thing to remember in the SketchUp world. I can grab the Move tool now and move that up. Looks like it wants to grab other things. Maybe I just simplify this just a little bit, orbit around. I don't know if I'm done with this yet. I can always come back to this here and extrude it further, make that a column now supporting all of that. Grab this, maybe make that, stretch this further. That'll start to become an interesting shelf for this form here. Pull it forward, take it backward. Lots of different things. There's an interesting shape relationship right there that I'm starting to like. Selectively edit things around. I wonder what this shape is here. Maybe this is one of my triangles that was on before. That could become a little sittable edge or a little boundary. Could be fun. Escape. Maybe this gets more enclosed, or maybe this gets pulled forward. I don't know. Maybe that's there. That's starting to get interesting. All right, where should I go now? Orbit around. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So that's some interesting negative space there. All right. Maybe there is some wireframe that holds it together. Don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I don't need it. Maybe I got rid of that there. Lots of just fun ways of moving around this thing, seeing where it takes. That's kind of cool. All right, pull this forward, take it back. Sit just right. And then that one, I can pull that forward. That's kind of fun. Just having fun. And that's really important. You gotta have fun once in a while. All right, I think I've got something. I don't know what it is yet, but I have something. Maybe it needs a floor, maybe it doesn't need a floor, maybe it only needs a partial floor, don't know. I'll grab a rectangle here, move that over here. Just put a rectangle there. You know, this project maybe needs a floor, or maybe it doesn't need a floor. Maybe it only needs part of the floor. I'll kind of connect that together. Because maybe the project looks better when it's flipped over. It's possible. But at any rate, I'll just for giggles here, I'll just put in a partial floor. Extrude some of these things up. Do the escape tool there. Maybe that. Maybe this. Maybe this. A bit there. Oh, that's kind of fun. Maybe. Or I could flip the whole thing over and start to look at it from a different way. Now upside down. Aha. Upside down world. So we're in Australia now. There we go. And just look at this a little bit. Pulling, pushing. Push-pull tool is so much fun because you can put in shapes, push shapes in, pull shapes out. So much fun. That's kind of fun. There it is. That little thickness there. Have that leap of the column. Yeah. Good. Alright. This around. Orbit tool. Do a little bit of editing here. Maybe there's some more stuff emerging here. These columns here could be interesting. The shape, whatever that was a rhombus. And this around a little bit. And then now I can do some house cleaning now. Alright, so get rid of that, delete key. And now we got something. I think we've got something. So So this then becomes a piece of stuff, or a collection space, what I like to call a new type of architecture that is emergent or informed by your base tile and by your rear elevation. And so this becomes a glorious collection of spaces, forms, and edges that you can now model in cardstock for your project that is informed or generated, what we call generative architecture, generated from the pattern of your 9 square grid base tile and your rear elevation tile. Zoom out a little bit. Gotta select this, get everything cleaned up here, get that stuff painted white. A few things here got different colors, so I just want to make sure that these are painted white. There we go. And get this ready now for export. Now, we could just take screenshots of this, obviously, right? But I do want to get this ready for export. So I want to export a PNG, so download the current view as an image. And SketchUp will ask what size. This right now is 2796 by 1502. I can select transparent background, so I'll give you a white background if you don't want that. You can toggle that off or on. It'll pick a standard view, so it'll pick one of the axonometric or isometric views. The isometric views are really nice. The perspective keys are right on. There's the side, there's the top, side. So the perspective camera is turned on right now. I can certainly turn that. I believe I can turn that off. Other things we can do, we can grab the 2 feet, we can walk around this thing, get a little bit of sense of what it is to walk through it, or walk around it, and generate the beginnings of a 3D view for you. Lots of different things we can do with the camera settings just in our free version here. I can set a scale figure maybe out here, and it'll take us to a eye level perspective. Where'd it go? Where are we? Ooh. Oh, we're way overhead. Yeah, that didn't work. But at any rate, let me forward back, get this back into the circuit here, and get ready for export again. Let's try the export again. So then these become some standard studies that you can export into your computer, and you can sketch over them, or you can talk with them with your instructor, print them out, or draw over them, or sketch over them. Just give you some good references for how you then begin to build your model. You can still work at that, but I think I want to just get I just want to get a little bit zoomed in here. This looks like a nice view here for me to print out or to save to my computer. Other things we can do before we do that, we can go into the Styles menu here on the right, and we can pick out sketchy edges. We can do white on black. I mean, there's lots of different things here. You want to make it look like a sketch. You want to save it for your portfolio right away. There's a lot of default styles here that are kind of fun. Make it look like a pencil drawing. Color sets. Here's some fun color sets. This is a nice one. It kind of makes it look like it's white on black. There's a couple of different color sets in here. It's an interesting yellow one. If you like reds, there's a red set here. It's kind of fun. Let me reselect all of this and just make sure it's all the right thing. We wanted that all painted white. There. It's a little more correct. All right. That's kind of a nice view. I like that. All right, get that in there. get this ready for export. So. Before I export though, I want to delete all my guides, get rid of the axes so those are out of the way. And now the shadows are off. I can turn shadows on and it'll cast shadows. Put shadows a certain way. Yeah, right in there maybe. Kind of nice. Right now the fog is off. I can turn the fog on. Get a little bit of foggy effect there. And smooth edges. Looks like those aren't available to me, but the shadows are on. Right now the perspective camera is turned on. I can turn that off and go to standard view. So this will give me the true isometric view. This is a 30-30 isometric now. There's the rear, top, side, front, top, side. Oh, one more thing here that wasn't painted right. I can fix that. Not a problem. Sure, got the pink bucket. Come on. There. All right. Turn off the styles. We're back in scenes again. So again, this is the perspective camera. This is the standard views camera. See the difference here. We have perspective distortion with this, and we have no perspective distortion with that. So I can actually pull the isometric view, get this ready for export now. So the other side view. All right, I think I'm done playing now. I'm ready to export. Okay, go. Export, PNG, pick a scene. There's a scene. Transparent background. There's an option. You can have that gray background here, or your standard background, or transparent background. I'm going to pick the transparent background. The PNG file allows you to have a transparent edge around your figure. So I'm going to export that as a PNG. Allow downloads, and that'll download to your computer. I'll pick the other side view. That's nice. Get ready for export. Transparent background. Let's look at this other one. That's a nice one there. Yeah. Export that. Transparent background. Export. Let's look at the top view. Get that ready for export. This will be helpful. This would potentially be very helpful for your one of a future DCM module. Potentially. Transparent background. Oh, it looks like I still have the perspective camera turned on, so I'm going to make sure that's turned off. Top view. There we go. Export. Transparent background. All right. Why do I have why PNGs and why transparent background? Well, I'll show you in a moment why. So, export PNG, transparent background. So those are all downloaded now to my computer. So if I go to PowerPoint now, I want to save this project as something. This will save to your SketchUp account. So that's now saving. That's offline, so we can close this browser window. Now let's say I open up PowerPoint. So PowerPoint, any standard background of any one of these things, PNG will float on top of one of these backgrounds. So that's one of the reasons we use PNGs for this. So here's one of the standard backgrounds in PowerPoint. Let me go to my downloads folder and just place all of these new PNGs. See the transparent edge. So these are now, because it's the free version of SketchUp, it's going to have that watermark put on there, but you can crop that out. I'm just going to crop it down to the image there. Here's the other one. Just going to crop that out. Yeah, it's free, so you know they get to put a watermark on it. We put up with that. We like free things. The College of Architecture Planning, we love free things. So this is interesting now because you take this to a PowerPoint slide or to a portfolio page. It shows your design process. You can print these out for review, submit them as part of your submission package. They count as sketches, so these are development sketches for this project. Just get them arranged on a slide here. One of the reasons I selected the transparent background was that it preserves the transparency around the figure itself. So it means I can drop it onto any type of portfolio page. In this case, a PowerPoint slide. I do need to crop out some things. This is the top view, this is the side view. So I think it gives us an interesting way of exploring options for this project before you begin to model it all. But also, I think, hopefully this gives you a really good idea of conceptually what the project is intended to do. It's intended to project forms forward from the back elevation plane and from the base plan plane and start to look at collisions and overlaps and meetings to form a clear, really rich collection of spaces and forms, and allow you to begin to explore an architecture that's informed and generated from patterns. Save this PowerPoint slide now. Just go to full show here, and here's our page. So 3 isometric views that we exported from the SketchUp model: the top view with the shadows cast, and the side view with the shadows cast. Gives us a really good way of exploring the potential new architecture that is generated from your tile project. Thank you very much.